The Parker home sat on a quiet street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where the golden leaves of autumn clung to the sidewalks. Inside, the familiar hum of the coffee maker filled the kitchen, while Mary Parker flipped pancakes on the stove. She glanced at the empty chair at the table, the one that belonged to her daughter, and her chest ached. "John," she said softly, "do you ever wonder what Lily's doing right now? Maybe she's in New York. Maybe she's walking to work or writing in some cafe. I can't stop thinking about her." Her husband, John Parker, lowered his newspaper with a sigh. His deep voice carried the weight of disappointment mixed with longing. "Mary, it's been almost 2 years. She made her choice when she stormed out and said she didn't need us anymore. I can't keep torturing myself, wondering if she regrets it." He tapped the folded paper against the table. "Doesn't mean I don't think about her every day. I do. God knows I do." Mary set the spatula down, her hands trembling slightly. "You know what hurts the most? Not the fight, not even her leaving. It's the silence. No texts. No calls. Every night I check my phone, praying for just one message. 'I'm okay, Mom.' And every night, nothing." Her voice cracked as she wiped at her eyes quickly, not wanting John to see her cry. Across town, Lily Parker stepped off the train with her suitcase rolling behind her. At 20, she felt older than her years, her heart heavy with memories of that night she left home after a shouting match. "You'll never understand me," she screamed. But today was different. Today she stood outside the Philadelphia station, whispering to herself, "Okay, Lily, you've faced crowded subway nights, empty stomachs, rejection after rejection. But this, facing Mom and Dad, this might be the hardest thing yet." Her phone buzzed and she quickly answered. "Aaron," she whispered, her voice shaky. "I'm here. God, my stomach's in knots. What if they slam the door in my face?" On the other end, Aaron's warm laugh calmed her. "They won't. You told me how much they loved you growing up. Parents don't just erase 20 years of love. They're going to cry, probably hug you till you can't breathe. Trust me, Lil. This will be worth it." She gave a nervous laugh. "Easy for you to say. You didn't storm out screaming. You'd rather starve than be a lawyer. You didn't tell your dad he was controlling and old-fashioned. I said terrible things, Aaron." Her voice dropped to a whisper. "What if they hate me?" Aaron's voice softened. "Then let me remind you of something. You're not that angry 18-year-old anymore. You've worked hard, you've built something amazing, and you've grown. This isn't the end of a fight, it's a reunion. And besides," his voice brightened, "you've got some huge news to soften the blow." Lily smiled despite herself. "Yeah, news that still doesn't feel real." She grabbed her suitcase tighter and whispered, "Here goes nothing." Back at the Parker home, Mary stared at a photograph on the mantel. It was Lily at 16 in her high school choir uniform, smiling with her whole face. She touched the frame. "She always loved music, John. We should have listened more instead of trying to push her into something she didn't want." John leaned back, rubbing his forehead. "I just wanted her safe, Mary. I thought law school would guarantee stability, a future. Music, it felt like a fantasy. I didn't want to see her crushed by the real world." Mary looked at him sadly. "Sometimes the fantasy is where they find their strength. Maybe we underestimated her." Before John could answer, the doorbell rang. Both froze. Mary frowned. Who could that be this early? Wiping her hands on her apron, she hurried to the door. The moment it opened, Mary gasped so loudly John nearly dropped his coffee in the kitchen. Standing there, trembling but smiling, was Lily, suitcase in hand. "Hi, Mom." Mary's hands flew to her mouth. "Oh, dear Lord. Lily, is it really you?" Her voice cracked as tears spilled instantly down her cheeks. Lily's eyes filled too. "It's me, Mom. I'm home." Mary let out a broken cry and pulled her daughter into her arms, squeezing her as though she could fuse them back together. "My baby girl, My Lily. She kissed her daughter's hair over and over, sobbing. You came back. You really came back. John stood frozen in the doorway, his paper forgotten. His voice was rough when he finally spoke. You came back. Lily stepped forward, her lips trembling. Dad, I'm so sorry. For the way I left. For the things I said. I was angry and scared, but I didn't mean to throw away us. For a moment, John's stern face held. Then his eyes softened, and with a shaky exhale, he pulled her into his arms. You don't know how long I've prayed for this day. Not a night went by that I didn't wish I could take back our last words. Lily buried her face in his chest, sobbing. I missed you both so much. Mary sniffled, tugging her inside. Come in, before I faint right here on the porch. Are you hungry? Let me make more pancakes. Lily laughed through tears, wiping her cheeks. Always hungry, Mom. Some things never change. They sat in the living room, the old clock ticking softly as if holding its breath. John leaned forward. So, where have you been all this time? We only knew New York. What did you do? How did you survive? Lily inhaled deeply. I worked any job I could find, waiting tables, cleaning offices, even handing out flyers in Times Square. Some nights I didn't eat. Some nights I thought about crawling back here in shame. But I kept writing music. I filled notebooks, wrote songs on napkins, played my guitar in subways. And last month, something happened. Mary leaned forward anxiously. What happened, sweetheart? Lily's eyes shone. One of my songs got picked up by a record label. Not just any song. Claire Dawson recorded it. John blinked. Claire Dawson? From Nashville? She's on the radio every day. Yes, Lily said, smiling through tears. And the song is already charting. Last week, I signed my first official contract. Mom, Dad, I'm a songwriter. For real. Mary squealed, clapping her hands and crying at the same time. Oh, Lily. John, do you hear that? Our baby girl's name is out there in the lights. John sat back, stunned. Slowly, a proud smile spread across his face. You actually did it. You chased the dream and made it real. I did, Lily whispered. But success doesn't mean anything if I can't share it with you. That's why I came home. Mary pulled her into another hug. Oh, darling, we're so proud of you. But Lily hesitated, glancing at the door. There's someone I want you to meet. The door opened, and Aaron stepped inside with a bouquet of sunflowers. His tall frame filled the doorway, his warm smile gentle. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, he said, extending the flowers. It's an honor to finally meet you. Mary blinked, taking the flowers with trembling hands. Oh, my goodness, and who might you be? Lily stood, blushing. This is Aaron. He's my fiancé. John nearly spilled his coffee. Fiancé? Did I just hear that right? Yes, Lily said quickly, her voice steady but nervous. Aaron stood by me when I had nothing. He believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. I love him, Dad. I really do. Aaron stepped forward, respectfully. Sir, I know I have a lot to prove, but I promise you, I'll take care of Lily with everything I am. John's eyes narrowed, testing him. Then slowly he extended his hand. If she trusts you, then I'll trust you too. But if you ever hurt her... Aaron gripped his hand firmly. I understand, sir. And I won't. Mary was already crying again as she hugged Aaron. Welcome to the family, sweetheart. You have no idea how long I've prayed someone would cherish my daughter. Lily laughed nervously. There's actually one more thing. John groaned, running a hand over his face. What now? You're not secretly in a rock band, are you? Lily chuckled. No, Dad. I'm moving back home. Aaron and I found an apartment here in Philadelphia. I want to be close to you again. I don't want to miss another Thanksgiving or Christmas. I want my future kids to grow up knowing their grandparents. Mary gasped, clutching her chest. You mean you're really staying? Not just visiting. Yes, Lily whispered, her voice breaking. I'm really staying. Mary threw her arms around her again. Oh, Lily, you've given me back my heart. I thought we'd lost you forever. John's eyes glistened as he cleared his throat. Welcome home, kiddo. You don't know how much this means. The room filled with chatter, with Mary asking rapid-fire questions. What's Aaron's favorite food? When's the wedding? Do you need help with the apartment? While John shook his head, muttering, This house hasn't been this loud in years. Later, as night fell, the four of them sat around the table, sharing stories. Lily told them about subway performances in New York, about nights when Aaron slipped her his last dollar for food, about the moment she got the call that Claire Dawson had picked her song. Her parents listened with tears and pride, interrupting with gasps, laughter, and the occasional, "Oh, honey, why didn't you call us then?" Lily answered every question, holding their hands as if to make up for lost time. Finally, on the porch under the Philadelphia stars, Lily whispered, I was so scared to come back. I thought you'd hate me. But hearing you say you're proud, it means more than any contract or radio play ever could. Mary squeezed her daughter's hand tightly, her voice tender. Sweetheart, the greatest surprise you could ever give us isn't success or money or even marriage. It's you coming home. Lily leaned back against the porch railing, her eyes glistening as she stared at the stars above. You know, Mom, Dad, there were nights in New York when I thought I wouldn't make it. I played my guitar in subway tunnels just for spare change, and sometimes people walked right past me like I didn't exist. I almost gave up a dozen times, but then I would remember your voices, even the arguments. It reminded me I came from a family that cared too much to ever let me settle for less. Mary's breath caught, and she reached for Lily's hand again. Oh, honey, if only I'd known you were struggling like that. I would have taken the bus to New York myself, arguments or not. I never stopped being your mother. Her voice cracked, tears spilling freely down her cheeks. I never stopped wanting to protect you. John shifted uncomfortably, his usual tough exterior breaking. I used to sit in this chair every night, wondering if you were sleeping under a roof or on the street. I'd picture you carrying your guitar case through crowds, and it tore me up inside. I wanted to call you, but my pride got in the way. I didn't want to admit I might have been wrong about forcing you into law school. Lily looked at him with softened eyes. Dad, you weren't wrong to want stability for me. You just didn't know that music was the only thing that made me feel alive. I was terrified too, but I had to prove to myself, and to you, that it wasn't just a phase. She touched his hand gently. I hope now you see that I didn't throw my life away. I just built it differently. Aaron, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. Mr. and Mrs. Parker, if I may, I think Lily inherited your strength. She may have chosen music instead of law, but the fire that kept her going through the darkest nights, that came from you. You gave her that resilience. His words hung in the air, thoughtful and sincere, and for the first time, John's eyes softened toward him with true acceptance. Mary turned to Aaron, smiling through tears. Thank you for standing by her when we couldn't, to fill the gap we left. She placed her hand on his arm warmly. You've already proved your love more than words could. The conversation stretched late into the night. They spoke of wedding plans, of how many guests the church in Philadelphia could hold, of whether Lily wanted a small ceremony or a big celebration. Mary laughed through her tears as she said, I already see myself baking 3 kinds of cake because you'll want one and Aaron will want another. Lily laughed too, the sound mixing joy with relief, as if a piece of her soul had been restored. As the clock struck midnight, John stood and looked at his daughter with a proud but emotional gaze. You know, Lily, I once thought the biggest achievement you could give us was a law degree framed on the wall. Tonight, I realized that's nothing compared to the courage it took for you to follow your own path. That's what makes me proud. That's what makes you my daughter. His voice wavered at the last words, and Lily ran into his arms once more. Lily whispered against his shoulder, her voice breaking. "Thank you, Dad. That means more than anything. I wanted you to see me, not as a rebel, not as a disappointment, but as someone who carries your strength and Mom's love in everything I do. I came home because I didn't want my success to feel empty. I wanted to bring it back here to where it all started." The night ended with the four of them sitting close, laughter and tears mingling as naturally as breathing. For the first time in years, the Parker home pulsed with warmth and togetherness, no longer defined by silence or regret. As Lily leaned her head on her mother's shoulder, she realized the truth. Her greatest triumph wasn't the contract, the radio play, or even the ring on her finger. It was the second chance to be a daughter, to come home, and to know she was loved unconditionally. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the living room window where Lily had fallen asleep, curled up on the couch, her suitcase still by the door. Mary tiptoed in with a blanket, draping it over her daughter with trembling hands. She paused, brushing a strand of hair from Lily's face. "My baby's home," she whispered, her voice full of awe. "And this time she's staying." When Lily stirred awake, she saw her parents in the kitchen laughing with Aaron over breakfast. For a moment, she just watched, her heart swelling at the sight she thought she'd never witness again. Her parents and the man she loved sharing space, trading stories, and smiling like old friends. She whispered to herself, "This is what I was missing. This is what I was fighting for." Over pancakes and steaming mugs of coffee, John surprised everyone by saying, "Aaron, when Lily was a little girl, she'd sit right here and scribble lyrics on napkins. I used to roll my eyes, but Mary would keep every scrap. Maybe I should have seen sooner that music wasn't just a hobby, it was her heartbeat." He looked at his daughter with pride and regret mingled in his eyes. "I see it now, Lily. I truly see it." Lily reached across the table, her hand covering his. "Dad, it's okay. You pushed me because you wanted me safe. And in some ways you made me stronger. I had to prove myself because you set the bar high. I'm grateful for that now, even if it hurts then." Her words were thick with emotion, but her smile was steady. "And I promise you, every song I write from now on carries a piece of this family in it." The Parkers sat together long into the day, the sound of their voices filling every corner of the house like music itself. For the first time in years, the silence was broken, replaced by laughter, forgiveness, and plans for the future. And as Lily leaned back, listening to her parents and Aaron talk over one another, she felt a calm she hadn't felt in years. She had left as a rebellious teenager chasing a dream, but she had returned as a woman, with love in her heart, music in her soul, and her family by her side.